Model Making Guru is sponsored by emodels.co.uk. Make something awesome.
Hey everyone, it's Fox from modelmaking.guru here. Hello and welcome to the next enthralling instalment of Build Your Own X-Wing. Yes, welcome. DeAgostini very kindly sent me the next 2 issues of Build Your Own X-Wing. They're 100 issue partwork, which over a couple of years you will have built up a 1/18 scale. Let that sink in for a minute. 1/18 scale. It's going to be huge. A 1/18 scale X-Wing fighter from the Star Wars. Now, I'm probably not getting these in the same sort of way that you are. I'm not a regular normal subscriber to this part work. I'm not a normal many things in life. But DeAgostini are very kindly sending me these magazines as they come out. So I think you're supposed to be getting these in batches of 5 every 5 weeks. I seem to be getting these a bit piecemeal. So you may have issues, say 1 through 5 or something like that, or issues 4 to, I don't know. I've just got issues 5 and 6 here. They very kindly sent them this time. So we're going to be looking at these 2 today and getting them done. We obviously get the 2 magazines. I'll look at those in a second. We also get some The Bits, as always, because we've got the buildy to do. And first of all, we get our first piece of hull, sort of. It's the cockpit tub, most of which you'll never see again because it's structural. But you do start to get the first piece of outer hull here, with sort of the rim of the cockpit, the frame around it. And I've got to say, I do like these sort of panel lines. They're nice and deep and quite firmly sculpted in there. So we're going to get some, because we're going to repaint this eventually, we're going to get some nice panel washes on there, get some nice details. It's going to be good for chipping, and if we need to do any masking, it's going to make life very easy with these kind of real deep panel lines. So we've got our first piece of hull. I know we've had the cannon, but that doesn't really count. We've got a piece of cockpit tub. We have our first parts of, I've got a question now. I don't know what the answer is. What do you call the dashboard in a cockpit? It's not a dashboard. I mean, these go on either side of the cockpit, and you've got the, what's it called? It's not the dashboard. Is it the fascia? Is it the, I don't know what do you call a dashboard in a plane? There's just no word in my brain vocabulary for what you call the dashboard, but dashboard doesn't seem right. But we got our first 2 bits of whatever that is. We also have some clear parts that are going to go inside these, because this is going to have lighting in it. We have our first, well, our 3 parts here, 3, 4, 5 parts for R2's middle leg. Yeah, I can just hear Paul sniggering now at that. Yeah, behave, Paul. You're not actually 5. Yes, R2's middle leg. There's no way around that one. And we also get a small bag of the screws for this part here for the cockpit. So I'll put those to one side. We'll have a quick look at the magazines. Now, these follow the same format as always. They have a bit of behind-the-scenes stuff. They have a bit of universe fluff, and then they have the instructions for what you're doing in that issue and what bits you've got that in that collection. The behind-the-scenes stuff, can't get my words out today. The behind-the-scenes stuff for these 2 issues is quite interesting. It talks about how they built the set for not only the Yavin Rebel base, the hangar where all the ships are at the end of the first movie, the New Hope, but also how a little bit about how they built the full-size vehicles, because they built 1 Y-wing and 1 X-wing. And when you see that shot of the hangar bay and you see all the X-wings and Y-wings parked up waiting in the background, they're all cutouts. They're all cardboard cutouts, just so you know. Big secret. I didn't know that until I read this. I'm like, oh, really? Wow. So, yeah, so it gives you a bit of information about how they built the full-size vehicles and the sets. It's really fascinating. They go into the fluff. For this magazine, they talk about Wedge Antilles. Now, this will resonate with the kids today, you see, because they're looking at him from, well, they use all the artwork and the imagery for when he was an Imperial pilot in Star Wars Rebels. And I've actually watched Rebels, I've got to say. I mean, I hate the prequels with Avengers. They don't exist as far as I'm concerned. But the Clone Wars animated series, it grew on me and I got to quite like it. And Star Wars Rebels didn't grow on me as much, but I quite enjoyed it. I did like it. It grew on me eventually, so I quite appreciate the Star Wars Rebels animated. If you've not seen it, go and watch it. It's pretty good. Gives you more backstory and fluff. I didn't know Reg was an Imperial pilot, or an ex-Imperial pilot. And of course, as we all know, Wedge in the movie was played by Dennis Lawson, who's an awesome Scottish actor. Now, I can't remember if he actually voiced Wedge in Rebels. I don't think he did, because it's obviously meant to be a young Wedge, and it looks nothing like Dennis Lawson. Maybe a little bit, but yes, Dennis Lawson, awesome actor, awesome actor. It looks nothing like Dennis Lawson, really. But yes, really cool stuff. A bit of artwork, and then we go into the building of R2's I'm just not going to make the joke. And a little bit about the cockpit. There's not a lot of building in this episode, unfortunately, just pushing things together. So that's issue 5. Issue 6, the information, the backstory continues, the behind the scenes continues about building the Yavin. I'm going to move this out of the way, it's right in the way. The Yavin set and the full-size vehicle mock-ups and how they built the cockpit and things like that. I didn't know, for example, and I never noticed it on film, when they built the cockpit, the full-size cockpit, they only built, obviously I knew they only built like the sort of engine cowlings and a bit of the wing, just enough that you would see on camera, but they built the wings permanently in the open position, so the S-foils were in attack position. I didn't realise that, because it discusses how there's a few sort of continuity errors where before they've all opened all their S-foils on the attack on the Death Star, all their engines are in the upper position. But I never noticed that, because you get so involved in the story, you see. So, yeah. Then we have I don't know, some kind of child in here. It's nonsense. I don't know what this nonsense, this rubbish is all about. I don't want to see an annoying child actor or something. I have no idea what this is. This isn't even relevant to Star Wars. What is this? This is not a ship I recognise from any Star Wars film that exists. Sorry, moving on. Now, then we need to get to talking about the cockpit. There's not a lot of building to do in this one. We're screwing the cockpit instrument panels. Instrument panels? Do you call the dashboard instrument panels? It's not much of a name, is it? Dashboard's a better name. It's screwing those in, and I think that's it. So we'll put those to one side. We'll get all the bits ready. And I shall do some buildy. So let's go and get that done now. Okay, so first thing we need to do in issue 5 is build R2-D2's centre leg. Yes, I know. Going to be very simple. We've simply got a centre piece here, 2 little outside bits, which are just going to snap on like this. Little peg and little hole. Pushing. Ooh, very tight fit. Just dug that into my finger. Most uncomfortable. These just go on here like this, you see. Now there is a bit of a panel gap there, a bit of a seam line. However, it seems to sort of, looks like you can get away with that as a panel, an actual real panel gap between the 2 side pieces and that centre bit, because it just looks like a kind of natural panel line that would be on R2-D2 anyway, so that's fine. Now, the next thing we have to add on are these 2 little tiny pieces, which are apparently lubricators. Lubricators. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my tweezers. These are my very beautiful God hand tweezers that I was given by my very good friend, an Australian, Kenneth. And these just need to go in. I can't really do that if I've got it on there. These need to go into these little bits on the side. Now it looks tricky, and it is. Let's see if I can do it without that. Can I do it without the tweezers? All you can see here is big hand fists. Oh, come on. Now again, I do need to point out, by the way, that my very good friend Chris over at Gross Models is also subscribed to this partwork, and he is also doing a build series of this. So do go and check his out. The vast difference is that he's ahead of me anyway, because he's had his issues first. But by trade, Chris is an horologist, which means a man or a woman who assembles and repairs clocks and timepieces, which means on a daily basis he deals with tiny little things and putting them all together. There we go. Now that is not going to stick in, so I'm going to use some glue on that. But that's what Chris does for a living. So when you see Chris go, I'll put this bit in, and he does that, and within seconds it's inserted, whereas me it's 5 minutes of fumblage. So it's fun to watch both just to get the idea. Now I'm going to glue that in place because it's not anything I have to worry about, but there is something to be aware of, which I've mentioned before, is that as far as I'm aware, all the plastic in this project, all the plastic that you're going to use to build the X-Wing and R2 and anything else, is ABS. Now ABS does not contain, or contains very little polystyrene. So if you're familiar and used to using something like Tamiya extra thin cement to glue plastic together, that glue will be absolutely useless because it's ABS. and it doesn't. It's got no polystyrene, or not enough for the Tamiya cement to work. So what you need to use is something that will glue ABS together. There's various different options. You can, if you want to, use super glue. I don't, because A, it's messy, B, it's fiddly, and you don't get much of a work time, and also eventually it does break down and become brittle and everything falls apart. So I don't recommend CA or super glue. I've got myself some Deluxe Plastic Magic, which is a really nice glue. It's actually thinner than the Tamiya Extra Thin, and it works on many plastics, including ABS. So what I can do on here is quite simply, because it's almost as thin as water, I've put the part in and I can just touch the glue to the edge there, to the side, where the little spindle piece, the lubricator, meets the middle foot. And it should just suck on it, all the glue that's on that brush will just suck in by capillary action. I don't need to overload it, just a little bit. That'll suck into the gap between the two parts by capillary action. And I've used very little, and when it evaporates away and dries out and it flashes off, it leaves very little residue at all. It doesn't, if you used a thick cement, you'd get bulbs and lumps and blobs and everything, but this stuff, it just flashes away and becomes invisible. So once if you're painting something, it will just be invisible. Now, I'm not going to be painting R2 because he's white anyway, and I'd have a nightmare trying to repaint the dome. So what I'm going to do with R2 is leave him unpainted, but we will, of course, weather him. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that, but the Ice Cream Man's going round. Oh, and for some reason his current Ice Cream Man tune is Match of the Day, which is kind of funny, really. But yes, so I'm not going to be painting R2. I'm going to repaint the entire X-Wing because it's going to look, it's going to have, do you know, it comes, when I'm trying to get my words out and do this at the same time, when you make the X-Wing, it will be pre-painted, as in it'll have some simple paint and weathering on it. But don't expect, you know, the best in the world. It's going to be very basic. There'll be a few coloured panels here and there, and if you've seen on some of the bodywork already on the laser cannon, the weathering is going to be just a very light spray of black to make some streaks and patches. So I'm going to repaint this completely, the ship. Now they're both glued in, so you can see here, like for example, you've got this grey colour, which is the plastic. Basically what they've got is the plastic itself is that colour. They've got a very light spray of either a dark grey or a mushroomy grey or black, perhaps, very, very lightly sprayed over the whole thing to darken it down to this mushroomy colour. A bit more here. They've got some panels that are going to be different colours and sprayed solid like that. But the streaking, for example, if you had a streak here, it would just be the same brown or grey spray, sprayed a bit darker. So it's not going to be the best paint. It's going to look all right. If you're not a model maker and you're not experienced, it's going to look fine. It's going to look better than just bare plastic. But when we've got this whole thing built and assembled after, 100 issues, I'm going to repaint it, and I'm going to show you how you can repaint it easily and make it look kick-ass. I'm going to go for a mix. I think I'm going to go for a mix, not quite to make it look exactly like the studio model. It'll probably be a mix between the studio model and what it might look like in real life if it was a real ship. So it'll be half realistic and half studio model. So we've got those two bits glued on. Now you can see here on the lubricators on his other legs, they are painted. They're blue and silver. Do it on camera. They're blue and silver. So I may need to, or I will need to paint those a little bit just to make them match. At the very least, paint the silver parts just to make them match. Now this is an optional part as well. You don't have to have this. This slots on there. It's got a hexagonal shape, so it just pops on the end. And now you have R2 with his 3 legs. I think that's the right way around. I think. Can it turn around the other way? No, it's not chiral. There we go. So that's got his... I'm also going to have to glue these things on because I'm sick of these legs falling off. For some reason, I tend to get loose and wobbly bits on my particular build. I don't know why I'm getting them. Chris's parts all fit together fine, but mine, to glue that bit into here so it doesn't keep coming off because it's very frustrating. So R2 there has his all his legs in place. Not lined up properly though. Make sure the head's lined up first. There we go. All lined up, so he's there now. I've got 3 legs. But when you put him in the X-Wing, I think you'll take that out because that'll link into the assembly he goes into, I think. So there you go. That is R2 pretty much done now. But like I said, I'm not going to paint him. When we paint the X-Wing and everything else, we'll have some seam lines to clean up on him. And we're not going to paint him, but we are going to weather him and give him some depth and realism again. Weather him up a little bit just to make him look a bit more interesting and fill some of the seam lines. But for the time being, until the end of the project, I think that's everything we need to do on R2. So he can go into a little bag and be put to one side and forgotten about for another year and 8 months. The next step, what's next? Next we have fitting the instrument panels. Okay, so we have 2 instrument panels. I still think dashboard's a better word. We have 2 instrument panels like that way around, and we have 2 little clear parts. Now we have to make sure we get the right ones for the right ones, so that one is there. I'm just matching them up here, so that one is going to go not that one, that one's that one is that one, I think. I don't know, you know. Do it the right way around here. That one will be that one, and that one will go there. We go. Because basically on these clear parts, you've got a flat clear part and there's little raised sort of ribbly bits. They're going to stick through these holes. So what we need to do is quite simply turn this over. You've got a little cutout here in the corner, which is for that peg. I'm going to slot that in. Use my tweezerings. I don't want to scratch it, so I don't want to get too handy with it, but I need to obviously get it in. So slot that. What I will do is I'll get a old trick, get a cotton bud, just so you don't accidentally scratch anything. It's quite tight, but not too tight. There we go. Click, it goes in. That just locks into place, and you have some clear bits sticking out. Now I'm not going to glue this in for 2 reasons. It may well be that I want to be able to remove these when it comes to painting, because the last thing I want to do is throw that over there. The last thing I want to do is get paint on these clear parts, because obviously when we install all the LEDs and stuff, you want these are going to be bits where the lights show through. So I may just leave them as they are, and then when it comes to painting, I'll see if I can mask them off, and if I can't, I can then at least try and pop them out and paint the cockpit. I'd have to disassemble the cockpit again, but it's not the end of the world. Now this one's going to be awkward now, I'll not go in. Also, cotton bud, bending. Try with the old fingerage first. Go on, get in. No, it doesn't want to cooperate. Get in, you little ne'er-do-well. Try the back of my tweezers. I'll show you the back of my tweezers, young lady. Come on. Does not want to go in this one. May have to do some swearing. It could be I've got the wrong one in the wrong way around. I don't know yet. Come on. Go on, in you go. I appreciate all you're seeing right now is the back of my hand. Let me pause the camera for a moment. 1 second. Right, there we go. Sorry about that. Took a few moments. It was just quite a tight fit. I had to widen the little holes where the pegs go through on the clear part just a little bit with the tip of my knife blade. Just get it in the hole and spin it round a little bit, because it was quite a tight fit for that one. So yeah, they're now both in. But like I say, when I come to paint this, I might just try some masking fluid, because I might not need to repaint these. These bits might be fine as they are. I might not need to repaint these bits, but I'll need to matte varnish them. I don't want to get matte varnish on the clear parts. So it might be that I just gently mask or carefully mask these off with some masking fluid nearer the time. And then when it comes to the cockpit, just get this bit matte varnished. As I say, I might not need to paint that. It's kind of the right colour, and I can apply weathering over the top, but we'll find out as we go on. So that is that bit. What's next? That is it for issue 5. It does show this next to this, which is the bit of cockpit you've already received. And I'm just going to do a quick dry test fit just to see. We have various holes along the frame here, and we've got pegs on the cockpit. Now, I was watching Chris's when he did this, and his cockpit actually got bent out of shape, but he was lucky he had a second one. I've got a backup one as well, just in case, but this one seems to fit okay. It's not the best fit in the world. There's nothing to actually lock the lower or the forward part of the cockpit in place, so it's a little bit wibbly wobbly, but it doesn't really matter. That might be changed when there's stuff in the cockpit. But once it's actually, assembled and there's a dude in there and it's all painted up, you probably won't even notice that. If you wanted to, you could glue that together. You might want to fill that gap, but I'm not sure if I'd want to do that. We'll figure it out nearer the time. But anyway, what's the next step? Okay, next step now is installing these instrument panels into the Cockpit. We will need the teeny tiny screws of smallness and teeny tininess. Now they should, as is their way, give you a one extra. They tend to give you one extra screw in each bag of screws. So there we go, that's these. Now let's see how well I can do this compared to Chris. Now I've got my, this isn't the screwdriver you get with this set. This is my DeAgostini build, the Millennium Falcon screwdriver that I've still got. It only ever saw 6 episodes of use. Shut up. So moving on. So we're going to install these. Now, like I say, when it comes to painting later on, I probably will uninstall all of these. So it says fit the left-hand panel over this moulding on the left of the cockpit. So the cockpit is there. The left-hand panel is, it's got the red bits there. So it seems to go like that. There we go. Lovely. As Colin would say, lovely. You've got 2 screws in there. So quite simple. Gentlemen, prepare your screwing. I'm just going to get 1 screw in there very loosely, just to give it a little bit of bite. What I actually do is drop that first, actually. Let's just do that first. Drop that first. A little bit of bite, but not a lot. I don't need to get a lot of tightness on that. I just want to get enough so it grips in place. And then the next one. Again, I'm not going to do it too tight. I've got to be very aware of, because you're screwing into plastic, and also this is spinning a little bit, which is a bit weird. You've got to be very cautious of over tightening screws. You don't want to damage plastic parts, and you also don't want to shred the tip of the screw or the head of the screw. And these screws are a bit loose in the head department, as in the screwdriver can shimmy a bit. I mean, I might just need to get a better screwdriver and use a better one. That would probably also help. But for the moment, this one will do. There we go. Doesn't need to be super tight, like I say. If it's going to move a little bit, that's fine. I don't want to do it super tight and too tight, because I'll need to take all these apart again to do any painting. So that one's going to go on there, like there, shall we see? So we do this bit here, like this. A little bit of a screwdriver action. Put it in loosely. Not the camera. It's always a winner. Not the camera if you can. It always helps for the viewing experience. Do that. Again, not too tight. Just tight enough to hold it in place. I don't know what comes after this, you see. So that is there. We now have 2 bits of Cockpit. That one's a little bit loose, but that's fine. There's a mysterious hole in there. I think something will be sticking in there later on. So that's in there. What's next? The completed assembly looks like this. It is possible to test fit the canopy, OP1 canopy. I've already done this bit, so I don't know I'm doing it again. I don't understand why they're giving you I don't understand this taupe colour. It's not anywhere near the right colour. It's supposed to be blue. It's not even the right colour. And then the cockpit base, which it says not to fit yet, but I don't know how it goes in. Where does it go? Does it go? How does this go together? Let's see if we can figure it out. can't even see where it would screw in. Would it go? Would it go in here like this? There's lovely. How does that even... Does it go there, perhaps? I'm not good when it comes to three-dimensional thinking. I'm like Khan. I don't really do three-dimensional thinking. Nah, can't figure it. I'll figure it out. Anyway, yes, it says don't fit them anyway. Anything else to do? No, that appears to be everything. So I'll just see. Can I get my brain to figure this one out? Doesn't fit there. Doesn't fit there. Does it go here? Ah, it might go there, you see. I'm special. What can I say? I'm special. So that will go there, I would suspect, or perhaps that way, maybe. There we go. That'll go in there like there, you see. Yes, I would have to take this apart again because I'll need to get in there to paint things like the foot pedals and stuff. And do a bit of work in here just to make it a bit more interesting. You will have obviously parts of instrument panels over here and other stuff on top, but I'll still probably fiddle around with it and take it apart. And that's the beauty of this. Like I said, when we get this thing built and finished, we'll be doing a lot of taking it all apart again to do some painting. And that's the beauty, because it's all going to be mostly screw assemblies and nuts and bolts and not a lot of gluing. That's why I'm not really gluing too much in place. I could just simply take it all apart again. So that is going to do us. I'll put that on there, just out of the way for simple storage. There we go. See, even this won't be glued on until it's been painted and everything else. And I might not even glue it on, because once this is done, it can go on display. It's not going to fall off, and it means you can easily move it and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. So that is that. We've got our two little middle foot. He's going to be here like this, going, hello, turn left, you fool, turn left, avoid, oh, you've crashed. I don't know what that means. He's going to go there, that's going to go there. Anyway, that's going to do us. So thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one of these, whenever it will turn up. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get the same number of issues. I might get 7, 8, 9, 10 next time. In 3 or 4 weeks' time, I might get 7 and 8. I don't know. Who can guess? Who can say what's going to happen? I know nothing. I know nothing. I just wait for these to turn up. A massive thanks again to the guys at DeAgostini for supplying me with these. Like I say, they're very kindly sending me these to this build series. So thank you to you guys and girls. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow is Sunday, because this is Saturday today. Tomorrow is Sunday, so I'll be doing my Warhammer Sunday stream tomorrow. Come and join me, join the live chat, and I'll be carrying on with my Angry Marine. Monday is eModels night, so join me, Ted and Chris, on eModels YouTube channel. For our usual show. We'll be giving away a couple of models tomorrow night, and I've got another Sazabi episode on the go. I'm in the middle of working on that, but at the moment it's difficult because I'm at the stage where I'll say, now we're going to paint this bit, and I'll paint it, and then it's another 4 days of work before I can film the next step. So although there'll be lots of work going on, it might be a while before the next episode of that build, so do stay tuned for that. I'll get it done as quickly as I can. But before I go, just a quick shout out to the 3 branches of dudes and dudettes that support me and keep this channel going. First and foremost, my patrons, my Patreon supporters, patreon.com/modelmakingguru. Those guys keep the lights on, they keep the bills paid, they keep me in food on my table, and because of them I can do this for a living. So thank you massively to all my patrons. And of course the 2 companies that also support this channel, emodels.co.uk, your one-stop shop for all your model making needs, and Goblin Gaming, who are your one-stop shop for all your tabletop model making needs and all your tabletop gaming needs. Links for both are in the description below this video. Make sure to use the one that's down there for Goblin Gaming, because that's my affiliate link. It tells them that I've sent you, and I make a little bit of income when you go through that link. So don't just go to their website, use that link that's down there, and that'll help support this channel as well, while you're also getting massive savings, up to 20% off RRP on Game Workshop, Malifaux and Conflict 47. So go and check those out. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for the next one of these, and I'll say, go make something awesome like this. Go be awesome. You're already awesome because you're watching this. Hello. And I'll say, adios amoebas.